Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast. It is a Monday afternoon, so that's weird for us. It means one of two things, right? I think vast majority of the time means we really liked something, and the only other possibility is we really hated something.
Or that we remembered our worst of.
Right. So, worst of, yes.
We think we know which one is not.
So we did really enjoy something. I think that's safe to say. So we're down here to talk about last night's AEW Revolution. And yes, our worst of will be coming this week. We've actually picked a date to record it, so that's a good start. If you're somebody who's been waiting for that, then it'll be coming out later this week. But we had a good time last night. The good time started once we actually got the show to work, because there was much frustration and anger. You worked till 9, so we started late, but you avoided spoilers, which is indicative of you really looking forward to something.
I always do that for Osprey and Fletcher.
But would there be a universe where you don't get spoiled for a main roster WWE?
No, I don't care that much.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So that was a good sign too. We got started at some point after 9. I made some nachos. I went back and watched. I think we should just fly right into it, probably, right?
Yeah.
I did watch the what is it, 0 Hour? I watched that.
I like when they call it the buy-in. I think that was actually a cool name.
Me too, because it made sense with the whole gambling theme.
That and like it's our last chance to get you to buy into the pay-per-view.
That is
deal,
also true.
Right? Like
so it works on different levels, which we like.
Yeah.
So, refresh my memory. That was Hologram and
Commander
against Blake Christian and
Big Shotty.
Oh, right. And that match was really fun. That was the opener, and I think that was a logical choice. And it gave the fans
That wasn't your real favorite match, though.
Oh my God.
We all know what your real favorite match was.
So they wanted Hologram. The fans wanted Hologram, so I think he won with a 450. Pretty fun stuff. And then I don't even know what was in between.
Shoot.
The only other thing that I was going to note was the main event was, like, fans were into it. It wasn't poorly done. It's one of those, it's not for me, which is another phrase I think I use a lot, right? It's just not for me. There was so much celebrity stuff.
Saying to you, at least, it's like, whereas WWE, you had Travis Scott disrupting your big angle.
He didn't do anything.
These guys are just kicking around on the pre-show.
Yes. But also Travis Scott didn't really do anything.
Until he messed up Cody.
But I had to watch Mansoor take a powerbomb from a child.
Mm-hmm. I did see that.
Yeah, that was a lot. So, and just
I also saw like his spear. He did that better than Jey Uso. When
listening to grown men commentary say the Rizzler and what's the other one, Big Justice or whatever.
Big Justice is the powerbomb.
I don't know, man. So I don't think that the big guy, the big Costco guy, does a bad job because he was a wrestler,
fine.
Right? So, and then like I know Adam Devine from Workaholics. But I think it was him and somebody else from Righteous Gemstones.
Oh yeah, the one guy. It's the one guy played.
Which I heard is a great show, but I haven't seen it.
Tony something. He played Dewey Finn on School of Rock, the TV show version.
He played who?
He was Dewey Finn in the TV show.
School of Rock. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even recognize
like the Jack Black role.
Okay.
It's him. Yeah. I saw them posting about it. I recognized him right away.
So then I think it was Mansoor as well. Took a double chokeslam from them. So,
I mean, if you're gonna pick a tag team to do it makes sense that it's Maximum Male Models. That isn't their name now, or whatever.
And AEW is really going for all of the celebrity they can get. That's a ton of it on this show as well. Just people in the crowd. Yeah. Some I know, most I don't.
But I like
just know that it's there.
Contain the involvement mostly to the pre-show, though.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's like, for me, it's like out of sight, out of mind, and I got no problem with
it. I got nervous a couple times of some involvement, or at least one time I can think of.
And then when they did.
And then nothing happened.
Until they said things.
Right, I guess. That was amazing. There was, coming up, there is like, I saw the clickbait headline this morning, like the worst 7 seconds in AEW history. And it's not obviously that, but it is. Even us in the moment were like, what of all the things that could have been said, that's
what are you doing?
Just to tease people on what we'll talk about. So did you have any thoughts on, so the show ran 4 hours, 6 minutes, I said, because I won't give a free plug for the service we use to buy it from, but it gives me the time when I go back and look at it. So, and I bought 2 pay-per-views at once to save some money. So that was nice.
So we've already got Dynasty.
So long, but not stupid long, right? Excalibur, Tony, Nigel on commentary for the most part. JR shows up. I made a note of it somewhere. He shows up.
I know he started at the women's match. I don't know if he stayed.
He did stay because he was there for the main event.
Was he?
Almost positive.
We just watched it. I still
That's
couldn't
the
tell you.
attention. I don't think either of us pay much attention to commentary. You know how you notice
That and
you
also,
notice visual details like
yeah.
crazy, but I don't know if we catch the
No,
what's the
that
auditory.
and also I didn't overly care about the main event.
True, and I think
So
that was justified. That as it in hindsight even.
I think that's what I expected.
Yeah, I guess. So apparently so talk about the set if you want for a minute
I like
because I
the
heard the
set.
attendance was excellent for this. I
It
just want
looked
to double
excellent.
check.
The crowd was generally really good as well, I
Right.
thought, on the crypto.com arena or whatever. But the
That's
stage
what
was
it
like
was.
they had like the double Trons up top, right, and like the light bar thing in the middle, and then they had like a triple screen thing on the bottom.
Yes.
Aside from it not having tunnels, it really reminded me of the old AEW set they used to do.
I thought it looked good, right?
Remember they had like the two Trons, the light bars, little Tron here, and the two tunnels?
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like if you took the two tunnels and replaced them with more screens.
Right.
So I did really like, one, I'm glad we have a different set. I always love that. But two, I like that it did kind of give me the nostalgic vibes of the old set, just minus the tunnels. Honestly, if they had just ripped the old set with the tunnels, I would have been fine with that too.
Right.
I do like the modern tunnels, but I will always prefer the old tunnels.
The old, yeah, they were the best.
Original tunnels are the best, and
especially once we were like, oh my god, there's a heel tunnel and a face
I love
tunnel.
that.
That's crazy. I can't find the attendance, so if you're bored while I'm rambling at some point, go ahead and look. So the opener, which in the moment I was like, I like this choice of opener. It made sense to me because you can't have it main event. Anyways, it's MJF taking on Hangman Page. And what did MJF do that kind of annoyed you?
Such a dick move. They play Hangman's old theme and everyone's hyped about it, and then the Burberry curtain falls and it's MJF. And
pretty nice heel work even before the match starts.
I can dig that. I hope the feud continues and then Hangman eventually brings the theme back proper because I feel like it kind of has to.
I feel like it's going to continue, don't you? I don't know.
It was pretty definitive here, but I could also see MJF just like trying to prove his point still. So I feel like I could continue, but if it didn't, I wouldn't be surprised as well. Yeah,
it feels like maybe Page is on his way up the card, which I also agree with. Back up the card. Anyways, match starts. Hangman Page is in control early. MJF takes a shortcut with an eye gouged. I think the ref was doing something. Anyways, turns the tide for MJF. And it's kind of slow going until MJF counters and power bombs Page onto his knee in what I would call a Josh Alexander spot because I love when he does that move.
I feel like MJF was doing it first. I don't remember.
I don't know.
He's been doing it a while.
They're going to feud over it when Alexander shows up.
I thought he might show up tonight and he didn't.
Oh, that's something until I just said that, I kind of forgot about him, to be honest, which is too bad. MJF, I have MJF with a taunting groin to the face.
Hangman was seeing, remember he like runs.
He rubs his crotch against him.
Yeah,
I do
thrust
remember.
his crotch in his face.
Page is furious at this point. JF is screaming about it being his company and saying, did he say like main character my ass about Page, I think too. And that's something I like about MJF is he can wrestle a really good match, but he keeps storytelling as the match is going.
I thought he really ramped that up towards the end.
He did.
Too. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. Page is now starting to fire up, but another MJF thumb to the eye stops him. Page does get control with a fallaway slam, among other things. MJF avoids a buckshot and gets hit by a Page moonsault to the floor instead. MJF with a kick as Page is upside down in the corner. Alabama slam, and then I called it the Redeemer DDT. Shout out Ridge Holland. But that was a nice sequence from MJF there.
Cradle DDT.
Yeah, we get it always looks good, right?
It's such a sick
because it looks like they don't have any way to protect themselves because their whole
MJF
weight
always nails it too.
He does.
I find.
Piledriver gets countered into a dead eye by Page for a 2 count. The Heat Seeker's avoided. Page hits a buckshot, but the impact sends MJF right beside the ropes, and he gets his foot on the ropes to break the 3 count. MJF falls to the floor to avoid yet another buckshot. MJF moves, and Page runs his shoulder into the ring step, so this kind of is now a target for MJF. So back in the ring, MJF dodges yet another buckshot, applies an armbar to that injured arm, then a crossface, then back to an armbar, drags Page to the middle of the ring. MJF, it's almost a Venus de Milo.
Right, yeah, it was
but
one
I
of
feel
those
like
double arm lock kind of things.
I feel like I don't know if it's the women have a better range of motion because when Perazo puts that on, it looks crazy.
Yeah, I feel like he wasn't hooking both arms with his arms. He was just kind of like trapping the other arm.
Like if you did it to me, you couldn't move my arms back very far before you're actually injuring me. My range of motion's so bad. But anyways, he attempts it. MJF grabs a headset, swears about being the greatest at one point. Paige flips off the barricade into what looks like a tombstone. This is a nice little sequence too. But MJF reverses it, remember, and pile drives Paige onto a chair at ringside. It looked
that
pretty
looked really
crazy.
good. The tombstone on the chair.
So Paige barely beats the count. As MJF again is in the ring, right? And he's going, "Why you and not me?"
That's what I really
Why
liked. Yeah,
you?
when he's like screaming.
So his insecurity on full display, as it makes sense with the story we're being told leading up to this match, which is something I factor into the whole math of this thing. Paige counters a heat seeker into a deadeye, then a nasty angel's wings. Like it looked like.
Yeah, MJF was kind of angled weird, but it looked nasty.
It looked like he took it on his face.
Yeah, it looked honestly, like he legit face planted.
Really well done.
Crazy looking.
Paige sets up for a buckshot. MJF gets up. The buckshot does connect this time, and this match is over after 20 minutes. So you go ahead and what do you think of this thing? We haven't talked too much about details.
Pretty stellar opener. I think you could do a lot worse than these two. And like I thought it was a great match, but I think one that ultimately gets overshadowed 3 times over at least.
I know. Like if this is the start and we're saying like this was in my top 5 matches on the show, like that's a crazy statement.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it.
Yeah, I agree. And like so it ran just under 20 minutes. Honestly, if I had another 5 or so, I really think it could have kicked in another gear. And that's something that maybe makes me inclined to think we do have more in the tank, which I'd be fine with. I think it's a feud that could warrant more, and I could see MJF not being satisfied with this.
I think you're like me. One of my final lines in my opinion here was there was potential for a 4.5 plus star match here. We didn't quite get that, but we still got a really good match.
The storytelling here was great. You had some in-ring storytelling with the injuries, and MJF obviously just kind of working the story verbally and whatnot. And like the finish was good too. The Angel's wings look nasty.
Nice.
Buckshot is always nice. I think it was really good, and I think I would like another match at least. I think you could trilogy this.
You had MJF
you have like 2 pay-per-views in the next month.
MJF avoiding the buckshot as much as he can and still telling the story of his insecurity, and Paige is selling an arm and wants to. It was really well done, I thought. They pace was steady, right? And then you had some impactful stuff that you'll remember, the pile driver on the chair and stuff like that. It wasn't worked at a crazy high pace, but
more entertaining than the main event, which was also not a crazy pace.
Yeah, I thought I liked the length of this. I thought it felt right for an opener. All right, over under accurate. So give me a cage match.
Cage match was 8.24.
I am slightly under. I went 4 stars.
I don't even have Meltzer on here.
Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't do his right away.
Yeah.
So, I thought it was 4-star match.
I agree.
I find we're a little bit harder to get a 4 3/4, as you may see from my ratings on this show.
Because
it's hard for me to get a 5 or a 4 3/4.
Mine's not infinite.
My scale is not infinite either.
So
that's why.
I think we'll get quite close to 5, but
yeah, I'm approaching it a few times on this.
But yeah, I would agree 4 stars because this was excellent.
Yeah.
Capable of 4.5 at least, but that could be for a later date.
And
I could see us getting a couple matches in the next consecutive pay-per-views because Dynasty is April 6th, I think,
right.
And then May, towards the end of May is Double or Nothing.
And when I consider the matches that come later in this show, I almost appreciate this one more for the very different tone and style it was, right?
That's true. It wasn't very
there wasn't a bloodbath. It wasn't like insane sequences and people kicking out. It was different, but it fits. I want different feeling matches throughout a show.
I put my on my story on Instagram, I put the thumbtack spot from the cage match.
Yeah.
And my friend who watches WWE a lot, he was like saying how they better not get kicked out of it. It breaks his suspension of disbelief or whatever. And he was
that's how a lot of people feel.
Not made to watch AEW. I'm like, yeah,
that is true. And I've already seen complaints about that today.
But then
when I was drinking my first coffee, and I'm just like, you just want different things out of a match or whatever it is.
But then there's the stuff they kicked out of in the Hell in a Cell match last year, or I know he didn't kick out, but still walking after the Mankind spot in Hell in a Cell, stuff like that. There's still.
I think their argument would probably be it's used sparingly, so it still has effect, which maybe.
I don't.
But it doesn't.
It builds drama.
You and I, it just doesn't bother us.
Yeah,
right?
it builds drama. And
yes.
It's
and you gave me a bunch of matches that had this, and I loved every single one.
Because if I complain about a bunch of finishers and kickouts, you know how much I would hate Gargano and Cole, and that's one of my favorite matches of all time.
You like what you like, man, and that's how it is.
I cherish that match.
So then we move into a TBS title match, kind of the opposite, where MJF and Paige have been telling a great story, coming
They've been
into
arguably
this.
telling no story.
There is no story adjacent at least for this.
No,
one.
there's no story because she won a title shot. That's the story.
That's right. But hey, they told me that she was a baseball player in this, so that's why she carries a baseball bat. So that's about as much as I've.
The fact that this went longer than the other women's match is crazy, just based on the quality of both. Not that this was bad.
I agree.
Even though I kind of fell asleep.
You were fading. You had to. You went from chair to couch and then realized that was a dangerous game.
Yeah,
You were playing and went back to the chair.
Yeah, I knew what I was doing because I only remember I barely remember any of this. But just based on how insane the other women's match was, the fact that this was like 6 minutes longer is crazy to me.
To be fair,
because I would have transported.
I don't know
time.
if the other match they could do 6 more minutes of what they were doing.
I would have given this time to something else then, because honestly, I don't think Monet needed as this long for a match that's kind of heatless.
Right.
Not saying it was bad. It's just it's heatless.
I will say I came out of this liking Momo, which was one of my hopes, right? Because I knew nothing. I don't know how much you can comment on this match, so you may have to defer to me heavily on this one.
I don't even know.
But so Momo's in control early, and then she does like a little mocking pat to Monet on the head. I think you were still functional for that part. And holds and counters. Momo kicks Monet's left arm, then her face.
I did, yeah.
Okay. We'll see where you sort of drift off.
Okay.
We're told Momo is known for hard kicks and high angle suplexes, which again, I'm not saying that mockingly. I appreciate at least here's something.
Listen to commentary.
True. Momo tries to kick Monet away, but Monet hits a Meteora. Tries to follow up with a pile driver on the apron.
I feel like I would remember that even if it didn't happen because you said Meteora.
I know. Momo hits a better one in a bit.
But yeah, that I remember.
Multiple counters until Momo takes a hard power bomb off the apron onto the floor. Then there's the second Meteora from Monet that I had said looked kind of soft. Billy Starks is shown taking notes backstage because Momo's mentoring her.
So Athena,
I think
Athena died.
I guess that's on another show. Oh, right. They did mention something about Athena, so maybe I'm wrong.
Because she's the Athena.
Athena's mentoring her, and she's taking. Who cares? We've already put far too much thought into that concept.
We've already put more thought than they put into ROH.
We are told she's a student of the game. So more counters here until Momo sits down on Monet with the legs trapped for 2. She countered something into I don't know what it's called, and I'm not doing a good job, but it doesn't matter.
Suck.
2 amigos each battle for a third until Monet gets into a tree of woe.
Out of context, that sentence makes no sense.
I know.
2 amigos each.
It doesn't.
I know what you're saying, but it makes no sense.
So Momo gets Monet in the tree of woe and kicks her hard in the chest. 3 drop kicks from Momo, and the last one was a nice hesitation drop kick. Some of her kicks looked really stiff and real. Like there was one I think to her head that I was like, is that on purpose?
No, don't vacate the belt.
Right. Monet gets caught in a crossface chicken wing, but rolls into a near fall. Sudden backstabber by Monet for a near fall shifts the momentum of the match. Another Meteora, this time off the second rope. Then some more kicks from Momo, and she hits the Meteora on the apron that actually looked really impactful.
I do remember that.
It's kind of funny that she hit one, and it looked better than I think the 3 of Monet's added together probably. Monet rolls Momo into a Money Maker. Momo counters into another crossface chicken wing. Eventual power bomb by Monet breaks that. Monet takes too long climbing for a frog splash. I think she was interacting with the fans. Momo with a kick, avalanche slam of some kind by Momo for 2, then a dragon suplex for 2, some more stiff-looking kicks from Momo, and the last one to the head. I think that's the one that looked aggressive. And then it's just Monet crossbody, Money Maker, Statement Maker. It's over. 18 minutes.
Worst finisher. So bad. I do remember that, and it looked horrible again.
And it didn't look great. At least it was transitioned into the submission. So it wasn't like you're pinning off of it. But I thought Momo looked pretty good in this and delivered a lot of punishment, and then it's dominate, 3 moves, you lose.
Yes.
You don't have any idea.
I do remember doing more. I just don't remember.
But it was Monet took a ton of damage. Momo didn't really.
It also doesn't help that when Momo's hitting stuff, it also looks harder. So even if she did less, it looks like she's doing more. You know what I mean?
But I enjoyed the match. I just think there's a ceiling on my rating because it was just you won a title shot and they didn't really try to do much.
Literally all it was. It could not have been less.
But Monet, I will say, my criticism of her is she's doing the same thing on TV every week with her promos, I feel like, her interviews.
Yeah.
But her matches have delivered.
So she has good matches.
I gave this 3 3/4 stars.
Especially with Statlander, I really enjoyed her match.
So not a 4-star match, but I quite enjoyed it. And again, I love seeing someone I don't know look good, and Momo did that. So your rating? Would you get
I'll agree
Infinite?
with you because
Yeah,
was just
he's
I was
deferring to
just
me.
tired.
I thought you might. But you rebound for the next match. You were alert for this one, and I thought it did a good job of keeping our attention anyways. And that is Ricochet taking on Swerve Strickland. And
Oh, sorry, I forgot about the picks, but we are even so far.
and how many points do I have though?
So okay, yeah, right. Let's
My
catch up right
Sorry,
now
what is
while I
my
remember.
certainty score?
Okay, so off the first match, okay, so it's weird because it's not an order of the. So I have to find. Okay, so I'm at 2 and you're at 4 because for some reason that's how I am at. Okay, so 2 and 4, and then where's Monet? Shoot. Okay, and then I have 9. You have 8. So now doing math,
Oh,
I'm at
boy.
11.
This is
You're
complicated.
8 and 4, so you're up 1. There we go.
All right.
I
Okay.
know how to do math.
This is good. And then if I got real ambitious, I'd put a graphic up with our score, but
Yeah.
we'll see how much
and
time
then
I have.
this one I will figure out as you're talking.
As we're going.
Yes.
So Ricochet, Swerve, it's the battle over a robe, basically, which Ricochet did hint that he had made alterations to, and he put his logo on the back. Is that what it was?
That was a nice touch.
You want to talk about Swerve's entrance, or more so the music?
Oh my god.
What a
probably
failure.
the worst live entrance since Jericho. Because it was like they had some dude drumming over it, but like which is because it's like this cool it's this cool rap like hip hop song
with rock drumming.
With rock drumming,
live.
But it's like slower. It's like he's just trying to trample over the vocals, and it was bad.
It was like his monitors shut off in the ear, so he couldn't hear what was being. And he was just giving. I don't know, man. And we're not musicians, but
like, it was bad.
I did not enjoy this.
It reminded me of Jericho doing his own entrance, or the one show when Cody had Downstate do his theme live.
There's been a bunch that are not.
His
good.
theme was bad live.
So this live drummer makes Swerve's theme worse. I think we can say that.
It makes me not even be able to hear his theme most of the part.
Right. So starts out Ricochet with the back suplex. He starts yelling at Nana. We get a boot and a slap to Swerve, and Swerve clotheslines Ricochet out to the floor. Nana tries to get Swerve off Ricochet, I guess to avoid a countout, because Swerve is sort of losing his mind and just wailing on Ricochet. So Nana is annoyed. He shoves him, right? Yeah. Swerve kind of ends up shoving Nana and then sort of apologizing, and Swerve gets hit with a house call from Ricochet off the barricade kind of out of nowhere, which was a pretty cool visual, I thought. Then a leaping clothesline and
Nana
a moonsault
left after that too.
Back in the ring, Nana walks. He kind of didn't he like flip him off too, as he was backing up.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, so Nana's gone at least for now. The crowd has "You're still bald" chance because Ricochet has taken control of the match, but they need to let him know that he's still bald.
Which is funny because then you have like Moxley's in the main event and it never mentioned. Like,
I know.
It's
there's something about Ricochet that they've connected with in a way
and
that's
it's funny
good for
because
him.
I remember way back when he was in WWE, he had the one live stream once someone said, "Why you bald?" and he said like, "Why you stupid?" or something like that. Cause like
he's a genius.
And so I think it stems from that.
Running cutter by Ricochet, and then they show us these people ringside freaking out. And Nigel says it's like Nana's relatives and mother or something.
Or that's what he thought, yeah.
And then I said it's not. It's some celebrities. Michael Cooper, if it's the one I'm thinking of, was a guard for the Lakers in like the 80s. And then other people that you said was a Saturday Night Live person.
Yeah.
We're not really good with the pop culture. Or I'm not. I'm terrible, and you're probably not good for your age.
I've never actually watched SNL in my life. Like I haven't
seen recently. Some skits, I used to all the time when I was young.
No, that's not what I do.
No. Swerve with a backbreaker and a big drop kick to shift the momentum back his way. Swerve then avoids another cutter, smoothly transitions that one where he rolls up and hits a stalling suplex.
Yeah,
right?
That was nice.
Looks super cool. Big discus clothesline by Ricochet. As commentary, I made a note here. Commentary makes sure we are aware of the people at ringside still. And this is where I'm starting
cut to him multiple times.
Starting to get nervous. Like, are we working them into the finish or something? Because I do not want that. But anyways.
Yeah, because WWE will just like, when they're on Netflix, they'll cut to people once and then be like, okay, bye, get out of our seats.
And it's like seat fillers back sort of thing. Yeah. Ricochet hits a Dragon Rana. Swerve counters into a power bomb. Then that power slam thing he does. Really good strength showcased by Swerve, who I don't know if people give enough credit for being a very strong dude.
Some stuff.
Swerve roundhouse on the apron connects, but Ricochet hits a poison Rana. They both fall to the floor. Swerve's thrown onto the announce table, but Ricochet ends up taking a vertebraker on the table, and the table does not give, right?
No,
so
it was pretty gnarly.
Could not have felt good. Back in the ring for a Swerve stomp, but Ricochet manages to kick out. The crowd's pretty into this. Surprise.
Ken Jeong was there, right?
He was. Surprised by the near falls coming down the stretch here. Ricochet goes for a low blow, but Swerve is prepared this time. And then we get a cool Ricochet sequence, including a brainbuster and you were very happy with.
Oh, yeah, he actually hit a 630.
Drilled it, too.
Because he always goes up and then, like, do the 630, and he just does a shooting star like a little bitch. But then he actually
drilled
did it. Yeah, it was perfect.
And Swerve gets to kick out of it, so the crowd is now, like, that's two really big near falls back-to-back, basically. Nana now takes this opportunity to come back down to the ring as Ricochet's in the corner, right, with the robe on now, getting ready for the spirit gun, I think, remember? And
I thought Nana tried to take it, and then Ricochet came after him, and that's when he put the robe on. Because then remember Swerve comes out and he then he tries to catch him and he almost kills him.
I'm getting ahead of myself. You're right. Then I have Ricochet dives onto Nana, takes the robe, puts it on. You're right. Swerve dives, gets caught in
Death Valley Driver, almost
super dangerous looking Death
dead.
Valley Driver by Ricochet. Impressive strength by him too, like catching a 200-pound
man.
Yeah,
and he saved it
in a fireman's carry. Vertigo back in the ring with the robe still on. Swerve kicks out, so another awesome near fall. Ricochet, here we go. Ricochet sets up for the spirit gun. Nana grabs the robes from the floor to stop him. Swerve rolls up Ricochet for 2. Ricochet rolls up Swerve and ends up bumping Nana to the floor, right? And then 2 big house calls. Ricochet still kicks out, crazy, but then immediately Swerve follows up with the big pressure, right? Which is
that move.
The JML driver. And he picks up the win here. I don't know how long this one was. Do you?
This one was I think it was 18 again. Yeah.
I thought this was excellent. So many awesome near falls near the end. Big sequences of offense. I thought they kind of really skillfully walk the line of super athletic stuff they can do, but also keeping it intense, because the opening tag on 0 Hour, that's like the super athletic flippy guys everywhere.
Yeah.
So these guys kind of stopped short and made this still seem intense, because this was a really good feud going into this, right? We enjoyed it. I did get afraid of the ringside people getting involved. They didn't. I got a little nervous that Nana was going to turn permanently.
I know, I
didn't want that. Didn't happen either. I think is this their second or third match together?
Second.
Right, I like this better than the first one.
Yeah, because that was also on TV.
True, so this got a little more time and attention and build before it. Ricochet did some really good heel work within the match. The tease of the Nana's dissension added a little something. So I thought awesome back and forth match on a show of really good matches. I give it I won't say it yet, I guess. So, and then of course the other thing is this earns Swerve a title shot, right?
That's true, yeah, which we'll see later.
So your thoughts, and then over under accurate.
Yeah, I mean, it was really good. It built off their last match, which I thought was a really strong TV match. I really liked that, but this one was as expected, a little better. I think the crowd gets super invested with Ricochet now, which helps a lot.
It's so crazy.
Yeah,
and as
he's
heel,
super entertaining.
He is.
I think
still it's holding for me.
Mm-hmm. Both of them have crazy athletic game and surprising strength. Like we saw that a couple times here. Like the dive catch was scary, but I think it worked out.
Awesome.
It looked really nasty. Yeah. Ricochet had a lot of cool stuff. That the cutter was cool. The house call coming from the barricade. I like the thing it's a thing he usually does was the Northern Lights into the brainbuster.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty dope. And 630 is always beautiful. Swerve also great. And I think the story being told was kind of teasing the dissension with Nana there, but then it came up background. I thought that was nice because I did think it might happen for a second.
Me too, and I didn't want it to.
So I thought that was nice. The story was there. I like the robe that kind of came into play.
It did.
Wrestling in the robe was kind of of course he would.
And then his mocking of wearing that is what set up Nana being able to stop him because he could grab it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so it kind of comes back to bite him,
right?
Which I like, and it makes sense for his character. But yeah, everything about this was great. Finish works. Result was expected. We both picked it, so I think it's 16-18.
Certainty score was higher for me on that one.
Yeah, I think so.
Beautiful. See, that avoids us. We can keep making the same picks, but our scores will probably be
I need to plan it out next time because I don't think I planned it out very well.
I didn't either.
I shouldn't have had 2 for Hangman. I was more certain on that. It's just
in the moment
how the other ones worked out. And I just
now that you get how it works.
Yeah, exactly. So it didn't exactly work out. But
so cage match gave that.
Cage match is saying 8.67.
I would say accurate because I went 4 1/4, so that's very close.
Better than the opener, but
I think so too.
Really good.
Better than the opener, but the opener was still really good. Okay, next we go to an international title match. It's Brody King.
Continental.
Oh, sorry, Intercontinental.
Continental.
No. My mistake. Continental title
International
match.
is,
And why am I
Takeshita.
changing my notes? Because who cares? But I will,
Yeah,
It's
you
Brody
need to be
King
accurate.
challenging Okada. And Okada's in control early with a big forearm, until a big forearm, sends him to the floor, then strikes and chops, runs into the barricade for Okada. He ends up in the chair, and King goes for that running crossbody spot, but Okada moves out of the way and follows up with a DDT on the floor to shift sort of the momentum. Later, some more crazy chops from Brody King. Okada body slam, goes up top, setting up for the elbow, but King gives him a big chop and follows up with a superplex. King dives to the floor. Okada teases a belt shot, but Brody kicks him and chops him into a chair, and then he is successful with the crossbody up against the barricade in the chair. Always looks good. Huge clothesline by King, but Okada counters follow-up into it's a white noise neckbreaker. Is that a right way?
Air raid crash.
Air raid crash.
But yeah,
I would go with the obscure
to the same effect.
Sheamus version of that.
Yeah.
For some reason. That's funny.
Who else has a name for? I feel like other people have a name for
There
that.
are, for sure, and I don't know why white noise is the one that's stuck.
That is probably what I knew it as first. It's just I've learned the regular-ish name.
I know. I've gone the other way. I knew Air Raid Crash and have replaced it somehow in my mind. Anyways.
White noise.
Rainmaker gets countered into a Death Valley driver into the corner. Cannonball
That's
follows.
always such a sick spot. It's so simple, but I love a good DVD into the corner.
And then the cannonball to follow. Like, that's a great sequence.
Yeah,
Gets him
for
a near fall here. King gets back dropped on the apron, shotgun drop kicked into the barricade. Okada gets a chair out kind of as a distraction, and then Okada, I think as the ref's putting the chair away or something, hits King with the belt shot, but Brody manages to kick out of that as well. Rainmaker is countered with a huge King clothesline that looked really good. Okada dropkick and Rainmaker basically, and it's over. A lot of description, only 11 minutes.
Yeah, it was a short one for sure.
It was fun, right?
It was good. Like, Okada's always steady, like we say, and King is so entertaining because he's just got, like, power game, and he hits so hard. Like, some of the chops were nasty.
And it was close to his hometown or something, right? So the crowd was really into him. We love Brody King,
he
too.
tends to be pretty over anyways, though.
He does.
I feel like.
Anyone who barks connects with the fans immediately. So I thought King looked really good here, and Okada does what he does, right?
And it's fine because I never expected him to really have a chance here.
It kind of felt me either. I think our confidence points, that's the gimmick we're stealing. Certainty score was high on this one. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll look as you go. Oh wait, it's up here. 7 for you, 6 for me. Why am I always? I don't know.
Nice. I felt like it was a little bit similar to the Momo and Monet match in terms of, like, King gets all the offense in, and then it's a couple quick moves and it's over.
Lackluster build.
Like no build, well, very little build, so not no. I went over under accurate. Sorry, I almost gave mine again. I think
7.
I know how this gimmick works by now.
It's a 7.
I am accurate. I said 3.5.
Yeah,
nailed
I agree.
It. Right, like it
good, but unspectacular.
Right.
I think.
And if I'm saying the Monet match was 3 3/4, I thought this was not quite as good. So crazy to say, a Monet match better than an Okada match
and a Brody King match.
I know, it's weird, but that's how it happens. I'll give you my honest opinion. Next we get the tag team title match. It is the Outrunners,
match of the night.
Versus the Hurt Syndicate. And I have Nigel is saying something about underwear, and Jack is laughing. I think I was getting coffee or something.
He said he would call Collision in his underwear if the Outrunners won. And then Tony Schiavone said, well, now I hope they don't win.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It was actually pretty funny.
I'm glad you remembered, because I had no
There's
idea.
some Nigel banner that I remember, because I think he's actually pretty funny now. He's not, like, doing the
just killing
stupid
Danielson.
Yeah, I think he's pretty funny sometimes.
I almost read my own notes wrong. It's Leo Rush and Andretti. Watching from ringside, not Roosh.
CRU.
Not Roosh.
CRU.
Yes.
That's their name.
Is it?
I forget what it is. Crazy something else.
We're just going 3-letter names, the Ops and the...
Ops is 4 letters.
Do they have to use the S every time? Oh, okay.
2 P's.
Sure. Benjamin slams... Here's my notes. Benjamin slams the non-Floyd one really hard and he tags out. And it's funny because I even made a note that...
How do you not remember? How do you remember the one?
Because commentary almost never used the other one's name, and...
They messed it up.
Before they used it once, they messed it up, then they said his name.
Yeah.
So they don't use his name either, so I couldn't count on them to help me out.
No, they use Truth Magnum.
They do later, not right away.
He's Truth Magnum. Keep saying it.
Blind Tag gets the Outrunners the advantage. They send Shelton to the floor. Hurt Syndicate consult with MVP before going back in and then dominating the faces. So it's kind of like they just needed a pep talk, gets them reorganized. Not Turbo takes a beating, and this is where I say commentary never used his name either. In fact, they call him Turbo. He takes some Germans from Benjamin and a running power slam from Lashley.
He's Furbo Floyd.
Eventually, Turbo Floyd a hot tag, but he stumbles getting into the ring a little bit.
Yeah, but he was fine.
It wasn't
that bad. No,
worth noting.
It was better than Jade Cargill coming with the springboard and slipping up.
True.
When you try to fight Baszler.
Outrunners hit a signature move that doesn't look impactful, but it's on brand for them. I forget what it is. And then they get run over by Lashley. Lashley gets sent into the steps. Benjamin punches, just fire Turbo up further. Some slight awkwardness, I thought, before a knuckle lock, old school by Turbo.
But it's like an arm drag and then just gets obliterated by
nasty super kick.
Benjamin, yeah. It's just disgusting.
Lashley back in with a big dominator. Ridiculous rising knee by Benjamin in the
step
corner.
Up knee in the corner from Benjamin is kind of unmatched.
It's elite at this point. Like, it should be finishing people. Honestly, it looks so good.
Well, that's why they do. I like that they do the knee into the spear. It's like kind of, even though it's not his finisher, it's like that and then a finisher.
And
so
it's enough to believe the guy is stunned and just standing there to get cut in half by a spear.
Yeah, so it kind of works. It's good.
Spear to one outrunner, same knee and spear to the other, and it's over after 10 minutes.
Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd.
Sure. It's exactly what you would expect, right?
Yeah.
A dominant Hurt Syndicate win.
Honestly, I think it went longer than I thought, but that's okay. I like the outrunners getting some love.
And it was nothing special, and it could have been on TV for sure, but it gets to a tag team championship.
Yeah, it's I think this is the breather before things start going insane, right? So,
and I'm kind of the one calling for them to pay attention to this division, so I can't really turn around and complain that they put a tag championship match on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I agree.
This is what they need to keep doing.
What I can say is I don't like that Private Party got snubbed for the World's End card.
Right.
And then the Outrunners got here. Did I do that to mention World's End? Kind of,
yeah,
but also because Private Party.
So, certainty score on this?
Certainty score. I think we both went we maxed out.
Yeah, 9.
I think you'd be an idiot not to, right?
I'm pretty sure we 9'd this one pretty hard.
Yeah, we're both at 9. Okay, so let's see. So that would put me at, hold on. Let me do the math. Okay, I'm smart. It's fine.
You don't have math this semester, so.
Okay, so I'm at 31. You're at 34.
I like that. Good for me. Right, what did Cage Match give this?
Cage Match. 4.92.
Wow, so they gave like a 2.5 basically.
Yeah.
I went 3 1/4. I thought it was better than average.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Again, a different tone and style.
Yeah, you kind of get your flavors of the month here.
About to get real serious after this one, right? So
things are going to take a turn.
I kind of, now that we're talking about it, I really like the layout of the card.
I agree.
And I think that's
it kind of ramps up as you go.
It does. Gives you a little breather here. And then we get things moving. It's the AEW Women's Championship match. It's Mariah May, Toni Storm as like the final, I think, interaction with them. Right. That actually is called that.
Which that means does May out of the title picture for a while? Because that sucks.
I hope not, but it certainly would seem that way.
Yeah.
Before we get into this, who's in a place to be next?
I think it's too soon for Megan Bayne because I was going to say her.
I know.
But I think that's too soon.
I agree.
Storm's a face, so I think that rules out someone like Statlander. And also, again, just give her a character, please, for the love of God.
Yeah.
Who's a prominent heel in this division? I feel like you could build up Deeb again, but 1, they won't do that. 2, she lost to Storm in her last title run.
They need a heel, right?
So you can see how it doesn't work. Neither of the Vendetta work because Perazo lost to Storm last year, and they both lost to Harley Cameron. So are you telling me that I'm supposed to buy either of them challenging Storm?
My choice would be Athena comes. Does a little bit of...
You want Athena losing to Storm?
A little bit of establishing her as awesome. But why does she have to lose?
She's going to lose.
You can build it and slow burn it for months and then have her win.
Maybe, I guess. But I feel like they won't. And then Storm's not going to lose for a while. And I'm just going to suffer and suffer.
Yeah. I mean,
suffer.
If the matches are this good.
But see, that's like Monet. It's kind of sucks for most of TV and then the matches are good.
Yeah.
But with Storm, it's not even like that. I don't really care. It's I don't like it. And then the matches are really good. But guess what? This is one night out of the month. The other 4 weeks, I'm wanting to punch my own face or the TV.
Punch your own face, not the TV.
So you can see how it still sucks. And here's the thing with May. The matches were great and I liked it on TV. So you can see the difference there.
Yeah, fair enough. But it is Tony Storm, your favorite, obviously.
Was it May wearing white? Oh my. Okay.
So here you go.
All right,
Here comes a rant.
All
people.
right. So like I like white gear like
I got time to drink
anybody,
on this one.
but it was crazy. So we have. I'll run them down now. MJF was wearing white, like pretty much all white. I don't think there was anything in the TBS match that I remember, but Swerve's wearing predominantly white, and so is Ricochet. So that's both of them in that match. That's crazy. Brody King was wearing pants, which is weird. Nothing in the tag title match, but Mariah May is wearing white. Omega's wearing white in the next match. Ospreay and Fletcher are wearing white in the match after that.
Yep.
And then
It's the night of white gear.
So like that's in 1, 2, 3, like 5 matches, and that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's like basically 7 people wearing white in one night. That's crazy. I will say for Fletcher,
Is that Will Washington's problem?
That is Will Washington's problem.
Thought so.
I liked it with Fletcher though, because I'll get it away now. They mentioned he was wearing the same gear from World's End
with blood on.
Which is the match where Ospreay bled a crap load, and he has the dried blood from the last match all over his kick pads, which will get
was a nice touch.
More bloody.
Speaking of blood,
but yeah,
this match. So JR replaces Shivani. It's a falls count anywhere.
There's some stuff set up on the stage too. There's like a table.
Right.
There's stuff.
Things. May's in like a bridal veil to go with her white outfit when she comes in. Luther's obviously there as well with Tony Storm. So May runs up the ramp, attacks before Storm can get to the ring. There's brawling right away to start. Storm sets up a table, but May just kind of pulls her to the floor. Counters lead to a May DDT on the ramp. Looked pretty good. And then she just has a taser. Just pulls out a taser, right?
Yeah, I look away for a second and I hear this noise. I'm like, what the hell is happening? And then she just has a taser. I'm like, dude, what?
So then Luther gets involved. He ends up getting shotgun drop kicked into a table. Looked all right.
It looked okay. May almost slipped, I think.
Right, so she's selling her back.
She was fine, though.
On the approach, yeah, she basically was slipping. She's selling her back coming out of this. And then shortly after, Storm just hits a sky high off the stage through a table. So it's like...
that feels like a match-ending spot.
That was the tip to me that this match wasn't going to be very long.
I remember I said that to you. I was like...
It
feels like they're going... And I mean, hey... it was sick, so I'm not gonna complain. So, honestly, I wish it could have been longer because I thought it was really good.
May somehow kicks out of that, and then she gets run into the barricade and the steps, and then crotched on the barricade and DDT'd off of that onto the floor. May avoids a hip attack against the barricade and then just hits a quick pile driver on the steps.
It's like that Storm Zero, the stump really pile driver. It's so gross.
And a believable momentum shifter, right?
Yeah,
like that.
It's so nasty every time.
So then May gets stuff from under the ring, and we cut back, and Tony Storm is now bleeding profusely.
Oh my God.
Like a lot.
It was crazy.
It was kind of the theme of this night.
Yeah.
Storm's in the Tree of Woe. May hits a hip attack to her with a chair in between.
That looked pretty nice. The sound I remember being really good.
And this is where my note just says, so much Storm blood. Storm counters with
a crazy
quick German suplex and gets... Does she get both buckets at the same time? Or where? Cause
I don't know.
She grabs... The camera picks up, it's a bucket of broken glass. We end up with 2 of them. I'm not sure if I was looking down.
I loved it because Excalibur's like... We've never seen this in pro wrestling before, or anything like this. And I'm literally telling you the type of match where this is the thing you do.
Yeah.
In ECW, I know they did this. It was Axel Knee and Rotten. They had a Taipei death match, which is where you wrap your hands in tape, which they kind of did here.
They did.
You dip them in like glue or honey. Then you dip them in the buckets of glass. And like, I think that match wasn't very popular because... Given the nature of the stipulation, it's a lot of punches and crap. It would be. Right? So that's they did like a light version of that.
No glue or honey, but tape and then fist into the glass.
Yeah.
And so a couple of dodges first, but then May does take a punch with the glass fist, I guess. And Storm dumps glass into the ring. May now is bleeding as we cut back to her. I don't know. I just make a note of stop with the hyperbole, JR. I don't know what he was saying.
Yeah,
he was really irritating.
I remember one point he said like they were 2 of the greatest stars ever, and it's just like that's such a broad term. You can't apply it to them.
Third thing of that ilk that he said.
I love them both, but that's just
that's
like,
crazy.
You know.
We get a champagne bottle to the groin for Tony Storm.
That was awesome.
And then a Stratusfaction to Tony Storm, who ends up landing on the broken glass.
Oh. I mean, not the worst spot of that kind in the show, though.
No. And then followed up with a Mayday onto the glass.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
And that was a near fall we were both rooting for right there, right? In our household, we both wanted that to be the finish, even though that would have made it a really...
I honestly, I would have been fine with that.
And
It
then
would have been crazy enough at that point.
And then they utilized this again at the finish, but the bird's eye view they got, and Tony Storm looks absolutely...
Oh my god, it's crazy. There were a couple of shots there. If you took a still
super
frame,
cinematic stuff.
this and like the ending shot of the pin,
beautiful,
super like beautiful cinematic shots.
Yep. Sudden Storm 0 on the glass, but May manages to kick out of that.
And because they both have such long hair, like with glass, that's such a risky proposition.
Yes, I know.
Like, it's not like you're like if Fletcher was doing this, you know what I mean? It would still hurt, but I'm just saying it's not gonna get tangled in your hair.
Yes, they're gonna shards of glass in their hair. The bloody shoe makes an appearance, right? It was at ringside, I think.
It was on like a pedestal, not a pedestal, like a podium. Sorry.
Storm gets the bloody shoe. May's trying to run away.
It was the exact shoe, I think, right? That was the point.
I think so, yes. May gets stomped on the belt on the ramp and then whipped with the belt. And then we do get almost a shoe attack, but a sudden Mayday instead for a near fall up on the ramp. The crowd is now like super invested in this. Storm with the headbutt, and she does get to use the bloody shoe as a kind of callback, and this is basically the finish, because we get a Storm 0 through a table, and this one's over only 14 minutes, and I don't know what more they could have done.
I mean, I wish they had, because this was great.
It was great. Just a violent bloodbath. I thought an excellent match.
Like, I mean, I didn't expect it to be bad or anything, but it definitely kind of blew me away, I think, and what I expected them to do.
Yes. Storm especially bled like crazy.
Oh, both of them looked insane at the end, just with the amount of blood. Like, it's all over May's teeth.
And again, the final shot from above, right, is them kind of lying almost like artistically and bloody with the title
and Storm's like kind of hugging her, but like pinning her. It's like, I don't know. It was crazy.
It was, it delivered on a blood feud, like no pun intended, right? So
yeah, it felt appropriate, which is the best thing I can say.
Started out like super fast, never really let up.
No, and like just the spots like the bottle to the crotch, the glass spots, the power driver on the stairs, like it was so much all at once. It was just crazy.
Safe to say front runner for women's match of the year.
I would say so, and I feel like it'd be pretty tough to
mid-March. It's on my list already.
I need to add a bunch of matches from here.
Certainty score,
right. Okay, where is it? It is somewhere. And there it is. So you're at 5, I'm at 4. Okay, I'm just going to stop at this point.
Yeah, because I got a couple matches right where you're getting 0.
Yeah,
a big fat 0.
So
I'm crushing it. So over under accurate.
I bet on my boys.
What did Cage Match say?
9.49.
So I'm under. They're saying like that'd be like 4 3/4. I'm saying 4.5.
4.5. It was insane.
Excellent match. Really enjoyed it. So the show is rolling, and it's going to keep rolling for like another hour straight after that one, right? Because we then move into Kenny Omega challenging Takeshita for the, which one's this? International title?
There you go.
Yes, nailed it. The crowd is either just running off the energy of the previous match or really, really anticipating this match. I would suggest both, right?
Yeah.
The crowd is hyped before these two guys even touch. And Callis,
their ring gear is both a reference to the same thing. I don't remember what it was.
I don't either. Callis is joining commentary, and obviously he's there supporting Takeshita in this one. So we have the big running the rope shoulder tackles, both big guys, no advantage there. Kenny then just slaps Takeshita on the back, and that got our first reaction out of us.
It was just so hard and loud.
It was. And he's landing some really hard chops, but Takeshita's running the ropes and just running right through them, right? And then hits his leaping
Takeshi's a
clothesline.
Beast.
He is. Kenny hits a slingshot dive that out to the floor onto Takeshita. And then one of Callis's lines, there's a ticking time bomb in his intestine.
That was awesome.
So one of the things I really loved about this match is Kenny's situation creates such a believable target, right? And Takeshita's relentless and merciless.
I thought it was a really cool pivot to because he's got those nasty forearm shots that he always smashes you with the face. But now, exactly. He's starting to go low with the...
So that's part of the beauty of this match
right in the diverticulitis.
Right in the diverticulitis.
The most fun word to say.
Takeshita flapjack onto the apron before running Omega into the barricade. We get a DDT back in the ring. Omega really sells it well, as he tends to do. Callis then gets an opportunity to attack Omega at the announce table as the ref's distracted by Takeshita. And we were wondering if Callis really hurt his hand. He's talking about because
It
they're like,
looked like it. I
and
was
he's
like, there's no way he actually like hurt himself again.
and at some point he mentions like, I think I broke my hand, and the other ones are like, well, go see, like basically go see medical, like want them to leave because they hate him. That was.
I think it was like, yeah, he got up and then he came back, and then I think Taz or one of them gave him the headset back, and they're like, why'd you give him the headset back?
Omega misses a high cross, and Takeshita lands a running knee to the diverticulitis, I wrote. Sudden Takeshita exploder looked awesome. He gets a table out from under the ring and sets it up on the floor. We get a blue thunder bomb is teased from the apron by Takeshita, but I said it was a sling blade. I couldn't quite tell when Omega took Takeshita down on the apron.
No, it was like that slam dunk thing he does.
Oh, it was.
It was like he like runs, palms his
that's
face,
why,
and like.
See, that's why I put sling blade question mark, because you generally, I'm not sure.
It was the dunk.
Got it. So on the apron and some Omega chops to follow. Omega gets shoved off the barricade, lands on kind of the midsection on another guardrail that's behind it.
Yeah, right, because it's in the timekeeper's area. So
Right.
there's like the barricade,
the front one and the back
table
one.
and shit. He gets thrown over that other barricade in front of the fans.
Onto the stomach, which is the problem area. So another big Takeshita forearm and a brainbuster. Basically a bear hug, again targeting the stomach, the midsection of Omega. Omega roll through slam and a moonsault for 2. Sudden Kenny Omega Hurricane Rana, and Takeshita has to escape to the floor. Callis grabs Omega's ankle because he was setting up for a running dive, I think it was.
Right.
And Takeshita hits a clothesline, sending both of them to the floor. Released German on the floor, and Kenny lands face first, the one where he sort of flips over and lands. Remember, it was a German release. Takeshita threw him, and he flipped over and landed face first.
Yeah.
Then this was kind of nuts. Takeshita hits one front suplex. The table is completely upside down, lying on the floor, but the legs are sticking up.
Yeah.
And he missed putting, like, skewering him on those legs by like a half a foot maybe. Anyways,
then he does it on the side of the table, which is crazy.
Puts the table on its side, hits another front suplex.
I was surprised that we never got a table spot to follow, but I think this is still cool.
It looked awesome. It was perfect in terms of, it looked as impactful as it could, I think.
Honestly, I feel like it was a more effective use of the table than just putting Omega through the table straight up. You know
I agree. Way more.
Like, it looked more painful for sure.
Yep. Then we get 2 sentons back in the ring to follow up again to the midsection rate. Omega gets his knees up on the third one. We get a missed top rope senton by Takeshita. Both are down for a little bit. Crowd is appreciating things. We get a strike exchange, and that's what Takeshita again goes low with a gut shot and a sick forearm. He runs but gets caught by a snapdragon. Looked really good. We get a follow-in high knee by Omega when he's sort of, Takeshita's going to run the ropes, and Omega follows him, drills a knee, power bomb, and then another knee strike for a 2 count. We get a V trigger that's avoided into an immediate blue thunder bomb.
Yeah, I love this.
Really nice counter. Omega delivers a haluva kick, and then he gets clotheslined off the top to the floor a little bit awkwardly, right? He was setting up for something. Takeshita caught him, sent him to the floor.
Yeah, he like clotheslined him down. It was interesting looking.
And then a sunset bomb off the top by Omega for 2. A V trigger, but he can't quite get Takeshita up for the one wing angel. I think the midsection's just been targeted and is too sore. So we get a tombstone by Takeshita and a bastard driver for a near fall there as well. Then a power drive knee for a 2 count. Another one, but this time it's just the 1 count. The crowd is going crazy. Omega's trying to fire up. We get a ripcord knee and a pile driver by Omega for 2. Hard kicks from Omega. Goes for a V trigger. Takeshita catches it. Elbow strike. Kenny knee strike, and then a poison Rana. I think the last few minutes of this are very hard for me to keep up with. A V trigger, but Callis grabs Takeshita. They each escape the other's finisher. Multiple roll-ups. Omega catches Takeshita successfully with one of them and wins the match, not off a finisher, but which is interesting, right?
Yeah.
This one went 26 minutes, and I don't know, the second half of this or whatever was absolutely insane. So
you only get 2 from that.
Only get 2. So did you catch up? You don't get any.
No.
Oh, that's right. Your thoughts? I know you are very unhappy with the results.
Stupid
match,
but bad wrestling. Didn't even
sort of separate yourself from that. And what'd you think of the match?
Wasn't even good. I didn't even like it.
1 star.
It was a bad match, so I don't even care that he lost. It wasn't even that good.
Yeah.
But no, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was tremendous.
Like, I don't know if it's better than the first match because it's been a while since I've watched that one. I really like that match, so I don't know. But this one was fantastic.
It was.
It felt like it built properly, and like the last few minutes are pretty crazy.
Yes.
Takeshita looked great again, and like you said, Omega had an easy target.
It was such a good story.
It was such an easy target for him to go after. The table spot really like was effective in damaging that. I thought like that looked really sick.
Yeah, like
and kind of played into it.
The barricade one, then the table one, and then him not being able to do the one wing, like it all kind of made sense, right? Like he'd taken a beating.
And the roll up kind of works for me because it kind of looks as like a desperation for Omega.
They're so evenly matched, you have to take whatever's there.
Yeah, like it kind of protects Takeshita for me. Like he got kind of caught off there.
I agree.
So I do kind of like that. Like, and Takesha's just he's so fantastic.
And just kind of built as it went, and then we're going a million miles an hour by the end. They're so evenly matched. Everything is so crisp and impactful, right?
Yeah, it's all around. It's so good. It's like a great wrestling match because I think the match before this and the match after are both amazing, but they're like kind of batshit crazy. This was just amazing just because it's like amazing wrestling.
It was.
Nothing short of what I expected. I thought it was great. I do hope we get a tiebreaker at some point because they always say Takeshita beat him twice, but that's because he won that trios.
One was a tag.
One was because it was Omega, Ibushi, and Hangman against.
But he pinned Omega.
He did.
Yeah.
He rolled up Omega actually, ironically. But like it was him and Bullet Club Gold back when it was just Juice and Switchblade, and then it was Golden Lovers and Hangman. And then remember that was when they had All Out the week after, and that's when he beat Omega 1-on-1. So I'd like a rubber match at some point.
For sure.
It does feel like we're getting that unification match.
It kind of does,
Okada,
right?
Which is fine.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I don't know what you do with Takeshita now, which is what I was kind of concerned about. Like, I'm not saying he's like going to be stuck or anything. It's just I'm curious to see where he goes. Like, I'd love him in the world title scene. Maybe not now.
Put the title on Swerve and then have Takeshita the heel challenger for Swerve.
No.
Build a story.
Put it on Hangman.
That's fine too.
You call back to the first match I saw with Takeshita.
That's fine too.
Yeah.
So what's the running tally with because I get my certainty score added.
40-35, which isn't as bad as I thought it would be.
And over under accurate? Cage match says?
Accurate. 8.95.
I am accurate. I went 4.5 for this one as well.
I agree. This was fantastic.
Awesome match.
Probably my favorite match to this point.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Though it's almost double the length of the women's, but I'm giving it the same rating because my enjoyment and just.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I always say this too, is if they're both really good, I'll always prefer a really good straight wrestling match because I feel like it's also hard.
If you said which one would you watch again, I might take the women's. I don't know.
That's fair. I would probably go with this just because I think it's like, I'm not trying to discredit the women's match at all, but it's also easier to have like a big spectacle and crap when you have all this stuff to work with. I think having an equally good wrestling match that's why I always like it because that's what we're here for.
And
at
you're
the end of the
both cleared
day,
to bleed nonstop.
That too,
right?
Right. At the end of the day, that's what we're here for is like wrestling. So to have a match that good is like, it's just awesome. It's a lot more. I guess impressive is the word.
It was fantastic. And then speaking of fantastic, we go into I'd have to think about 3 matches in a row I enjoyed as much as this. It's Will Ospreay.
I think it was. I want to say it was a 3 5-star match streak from what I could see, but I'll see if I can find Meltzer
Taking Fletcher in a steel cage this time. So Fletcher's out first, and he climbs the cage, and then there's a really long preamble to Ospreay's theme this time, right?
Yeah, it was like one of those prelude things. Like Omega used to have one when he was doing a heel character. Cody had one, I think.
Made it feel different, I will say that.
Yeah, it was cool. And at least it's not like Cody wears entrances 5 hours every week.
True. As you said, Fletcher's wearing bloody kick pads from their last match.
That was cool. And Ospreay's got white gear as well, which is the 15th time, but can't say it didn't look nice.
Fletcher runs over Ospreay early on with a shoulder tackle. And then there's a couple spots where Ospreay's like the reduced room on the apron. He can't do what he wants. And commentary's saying like he's not used to fighting in cage matches. It was a springboard attempt and then the handspring move. Remember?
I don't think he would have been in many cage matches.
It's probably true. I just thought it was odd.
Well, because he's been in New Japan forever and they never do stuff like that, right? Like the only cage match I've ever seen them do and was that Dog Pound one. But even then, that's like not really a cage and also not even close to this. But it was an interesting note, and it did kind of make sense.
It did, and so I'm wondering, did they plan that or not, right? Because he does kind of run out of room on the handspring.
Either way, I feel like it could have...
Or no, he kicks the cage and hurts his foot off the handspring. Because you know how he does it into the ropes?
Right, yeah.
So he ended up kicking the cage. Anyways, it was a detail I noticed that it was interesting to me. Ospreay counters into a stun dog. Oscutter gets blocked. Ospreay is thrown headfirst into the cage. Now Ospreay is bleeding. Fletcher's licking Ospreay's blood off the cage at one point. And then
we're both licking.
He stays in control for a while until Ospreay jumps onto the ropes and hits a leaping forearm. Fletcher gets run into the cage and hit by a standing sky twister. Hard Ospreay chops, and we can't tell if Fletcher's chest is bleeding. Commentary.
I think it was.
I think it might have been.
I think the way it looked, I think
kind of blood everywhere at a certain point. Crazy snap half and half from Fletcher looked pretty devastating. The cheeky Nando's kick and a catapult sends Fletcher into the cage. Ospreay gets.
Was that where the turnbuckle was exposed, or is that later?
I don't remember him know if I made a note of that.
I remember him doing that when the turnbuckle was exposed.
I think it was might have been later. I don't think I made a note either way. Ospreay gets crotched now. Fletcher's head is bleeding at this point, and his head gets rammed into the corner post of the cage. That at least would seem to be the most solid part, I would think. Several times he falls to the ground.
That chain link where there's give, right?
No. Beautiful twisting splash thing by Ospreay. Looked awesome.
Excalibur's called it the Cancun Tornado, but I remember when he debuted in New Japan sometime after Forbidden Door. I think during his G1 run, it was the Leap of Faith. It's like a...
Oh, yeah, that's what you said in the
moment. It's like if you did the
Leap
Sky Twister, the corkscrew moonsault, but you do an extra rotation to make it a senton.
Yeah, because you can. It's that easy.
Because that's you just added a little bit more. It's not that hard.
It's already impossible. Just do more.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
Running kick to Ospreay sends his head into the cage. We get a gigantic last ride from Fletcher at that point.
Yeah, he does the sit-out version. I think it looks awesome every time.
Looks crazy,
so
especially now that he's looking so big and strong, right? Yeah. His body transformation has been significant.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that's something they look for too. Like, hey, we want to elevate this guy, and now he's getting in the best shape of his life.
Yeah,
at the same time.
He looks elite.
Huge elbow strike and Kawada kicks, blood-licking kick exchange I have put there. So many quick counters because I just can't keep up. So that's how I summarize things. Leads to an Ospreay DDT. Fletcher escapes the Tiger Driver, hits a huge brainbuster. Here's where Mark Davis shows up, which is what I was sort of wondering about. It didn't play out the way I thought it would. I thought he would come. But
no, I was grateful because then that gave me more of a chance, but then it didn't matter anyways.
He has a bag. He has bolt cutters. He cuts off the lock. He didn't have to fight the lock too long. That was good.
No, it took him a second, but not in a way that was like...
It would.
Yeah, it didn't really affect anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fine. It worked out.
He gives Fletcher a chair and the duffel bag he's carrying. Ospreay kicks the door into Davis, gets a barbed wire bat out of the bag.
Davis ends up bleeding a lot from that.
He did. We get a shot to the gut and the back of Fletcher with the bat, and then raking the barbed wire across Fletcher's face. We get a Cactus Jack bang bang. Fletcher begs for mercy, pulls out a
United Empire
armband. I was processing what UE stood for in my notes.
Yeah.
Ospreay flips him off, but Fletcher now, he's bought enough time, hits a low blow to Ospreay. Fletcher wipes his bloody face with the armband, shoves it into Ospreay's mouth, which is interesting. Fletcher misses a bat shot. We get a hidden blade and a Stormbreaker, but Davis is back to break up the pin. He's bloody, as you mentioned. Davis applies the sleeper to Ospreay. He and Fletcher set up for the Coriolis, right? But it's countered into a poison rana to Fletcher and a hidden blade with a chair to Davis, which is pretty nice. Davis gets sent to the floor, and now the ref chooses to relock the door.
I guess you wanted to get him back out again.
Yeah.
I guess, but they could have done it when you kicked the door.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Huge os cutter off the cage for a near fall. Looked pretty crazy. Ospreay wraps barbed wire on his arm. Fletcher climbs up the cage to escape. He looks crazy. Finds a screwdriver. I didn't quite notice where he grabbed it from, if I'm being honest.
I don't know.
And hits Ospreay in the head with it, and then licks the screwdriver. Fletcher rolls through into a brainbuster, sets up a chair, and then just destroys the chair with a nasty brainbuster for a 2 count. Fletcher gets a bag from within the bag, and it has tacks on it. And they zoom in on the tacks to show us that they're real tacks. And the move that he took, what did Fletcher take on the tacks?
Oh, yeah, he took a Styles Clash. That was insane.
And Fletcher's panic before, as it's being set up, because he knows it's coming, was awesome here. Because it's not something...
And I was just wincing, too, because I'm like, it's one thing to take a tack bump, but, I feel like stomach and everything is so much worse.
Yes, and he really sold that he did not want to do this.
And he was screaming after, too. It was crazy.
Fletcher climbs the cage to try and escape. Ospreay follows him with the screwdriver. They're both sitting on top of the cage, exchanging headbutts. We get a screwdriver shot to Fletcher's head. Takes them a second to set it up, but then They hit a Spanish fly
Oh my
off the
God.
top of this
I
cage.
was legitimately scared when they were setting this up. 'cause
And
I
that's
was
why, like, setting it up, I know it looked kind of hokey, but I mean, they could seriously hurt themselves or die. So take your
I
time.
was like, they were about to do it. And I was like, no, because I was so scared for a second because it was, oh
Yes.
man, that was
So-
crazy. And I was telling you, the cage matches have been going crazy because it's like last time you had a man getting a needle through his cheek, and then now you got
Yeah,
this, which
that's
is
right.
crazier. I don't know.
So they're both down. Crowd's nuts. Osprey's the first to get up. Fletcher starts screaming about how much he hates Osprey.
And he's like dropping F-bombs straight up.
Yes.
Like it was pretty crazy. Like I thought that was really cool. It was like the heel version of "I'm sorry, I love you."
Yeah.
You
It
know?
was he was, and then Hidden Blade,
He just eats that.
Tiger Driver, which is only reserved for special occasions and hatreds of Ospreys. And the match is finally over. I think it's at like 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just under. I think it was like 28,
So
50. So yeah, basically 29.
absolutely insane match.
By far and away my favorite match of the night.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy.
So much blood. You did get Davis involved. Not how I thought. These guys just have incredible chemistry, right?
I agree. Like I feel like every time they knock it out of the park, I think their worst match at World's End was just because it was in the tournament. Like you had more other things to go on, but even then I thought that was great. And their first match was my favorite of last year. This is probably my front runner for match of the year right now.
I can't think of two guys
Like,
who put together like faster, lengthy sequences of countering each
and
other.
I think the psychology of everything they do is so great too. Because I know Osprey puts thought into it, and like even if you want to point to the Aussie tag match with Omega and Takeshita, that match is fantastic too. And like, or even when they had the one tag match on Dynamite before their first match, I remember because it was them and I think it was Takeshi and Ricochet, or was it no? It was me, Ricochet, and anyways, it was other people. But I remember even that was because that was like the first taste of them against each other, and that was amazing too. Like their chemistry is off the charts. It's crazy, and you know they're like super tight in their life, so
they were
obviously
loving
it
this.
works. Like yeah, this has to be so fun, but like it was just so crazy. I feel like it started a little slow, but like in a good way, and it kind of built up. You had some great finisher spots, like a lot of couple brainbusters from Fletcher.
Yep.
Obviously, Osprey's hidden blades and stuff. I thought Davis' interference was well done because it didn't overstay its welcome, and it brought in the weapons, which I thought was definitely helpful. Obviously, the tack spot was crazy. The bat stuff was good. I thought all the gross blood actions was certainly there.
I like the callbacks too with like the bloody clothes, the screwdriver, even though the screwdriver's not my favorite weapon. The armband, even the Tiger Driver, right?
Yeah.
Because we all know that's
the Spanish Fly is probably one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, takes some balls to do that.
That's the evolution of Snuka off the cage, right?
Yeah.
That was crazy then.
That's where we've come. It's like, and not only that was crazy then, but the cage has also gotten a lot bigger then. So
it was nuts.
It was crazy. Like, it was great. I'm a little disappointed Fletcher didn't win, but at the same time, it's not that big of a deal, I think. Like he'll be fine enough, and hopefully they can both move on now. Like I think this feud's been so great. Like this is probably one of my favorite AEW feuds in recent memory. Like I think
it's given you some pretty good stuff,
and I think it's one of those ones we could easily revisit too. I think Osprey's not old, Fletcher's younger. I think so. These are guys if they retain them for long enough. This is something. It's like the Hangman Swerve thing. It's something you can revisit down the line. I think this could be your Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, where like they were friends, they were bitter enemies. They could be friends again. They could be bitter enemies, right? So I really hope we revisit again because I think it's an all-timer feud for AEW. It just hasn't missed. Right? I think the story told has always been great.
It's made
the match
Fletcher
has always been great. I think it's made Fletcher win, lose, or draw.
Agree.
He's been made.
Yeah, I agree.
This was crazy. It's definitely my front runner for match of the year so far because it was crazy. But yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any position on the card that I could say Fletcher couldn't. Like if you're like we're gonna make him the main focus for 9 months, I'd be like fine.
Yeah, I think when the time is right, he's a ready main eventer.
I do too.
Because I think his in-ring work was always something we loved, but then I think over the last, we'll say year and a half or so, he's really honed his character, especially when he turned heel and started cutting promos against Osprey.
Yeah,
I think holding his own there.
Once
really
we saw the
skill.
character and the promos were there.
Yeah, he's the total package, really. I think like him and Osprey kind of have it all figured out. Takeshita, I think is an insane wrestler, and since he has Callis with him, he's fine, right?
Yes.
Like, I think it's kind of like Brock Lesnar, redacted, not to bring him up, but he's not a good promo.
No, of course not.
But he was still huge.
Yes.
Because he had Heyman.
That's right.
And so Takeshita can easily be that. I'm not saying he has like that UFC cross brand drawing power,
No.
but in terms of like wrestling talent, Takeshita will be fine because Callis is a great talker, and I think that'll
Takeshita's
cover
a believable silent killer.
exactly,
Right?
and I think that totally works.
Yep.
Especially in the scope of the Callis
That's
family.
when Lashley's at his best too, back in the day.
Right,
When
and
they
he has
didn't have him
right.
talk.
Lashley's not a good talker,
No,
but he was still
he is
killer,
not.
because
Yes.
he has MVP.
I even really enjoyed him in TNA when he was doing that.
Right, exactly. So I think with those three, and Swerve is still kicking around, Hangman's going to be your perennial main character.
Mhm.
Your main event scene could be really great if we just get away from Death Riders, which I think will
Right.
happen soon.
It feels like it's really clogging up
I think so, because
things.
I feel like I'm just waiting for that to happen, because I think I feel like the Darby dream's kind of dead, like, because I don't know what he's doing.
I just don't think we can wait that long the way this is going.
I know.
It needs
I
to
think
be pull the plug.
Dynasty, I think we do Swerve Mox as their main event. I think Ricochet has to screw Swerve. I don't think Swerve's winning.
No, I don't either. Doesn't
So,
feel like
and
Swerve.
I think logically speaking,
If he does, it's an audible.
yeah, and I think logically speaking, Ricochet won't let this go.
Yeah.
Just without his characters, there's no way he lets it go. So either it's before Dynasty or it's at Dynasty. Swerve loses, Ricochet screws him.
Some stipulation match. to
Stipulation match at Double or Nothing.
Mhm.
And at Double or Nothing, I think we build to, because that's like their inaugural show. Because obviously, All In is their biggest show, but then we're gonna be waiting till July
come. Mhm.
for Mox to drop it, and I don't think that's
I don't
want to
do that.
So I
Doesn't
think
work for me, brother.
Double or Nothing's big enough where it's like it was their inaugural show, so it may not be their biggest show anymore, but it's still a big show.
Yeah.
So I think at Double or Nothing we build up to Hangman winning the title for a second time, because then you could have the story of at the first Double or Nothing, in the first match, he won the right to face Jericho for the inaugural title, right? And now, however many, what would it be? 6 years later?
Yep. That's right.
He's winning the title a second time, right? So I think that'd be great. And we have a whole bunch of history with him and Mox, right? From that 2023
Mhm.
feud. That was really great. And so I think that has to be played. And then Hangman could feud with, I think him and Fletcher would be kind of crazy. I'd love to see, like I said, I'd love to run back him and Takeshita, because I think Takeshita has become such a more rounded performer since then, because he was just the kind of bland babyface doing some cool stuff, but that was like kind of an enhancement match for Hangman. Now it could be like him versus Takeshita on like where it's even footing, like more kind of like how Omega faced Fletcher when he was still Aussie Open, and it was like now if Omega faced
Be
Fletcher,
different.
I do want the unification, but so I would obviously say if we're doing the unification in July, Omega wins that, and I think the international title is the title you keep, right?
Yeah.
I think we still do the Continental Classic, obviously. It's just it'll be for a world title shot or something, because I feel like the Continental title is the one we don't need.
I know, but would they, because you say there's a tournament with it, maybe that's the one they do keep, though.
I hope they don't, because the international title looks so much better.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like when they unified the tag titles in WWE, you had the world tag titles, which are these old ones with like this historic lineage and whatever. Then you had the WWE tag titles, which are the ones they debuted in the first brand split, right?
Yeah.
From 2002. And they kept the lineage of those newer ones, which doesn't make sense. So for me, I would be keeping the lineage of the international title, because that's the one where it's like you have Ospreay and MJF's feud. You have Takeshita's run. You have Cassidy's
That's a
historic
big
run.
one.
That's the thing. For me, if we drop the Intercontinental title, it would be like, yeah, what was the point of having it? But then it's also like it's going to be like, it's just the lineage is Okada and Eddie Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
Does it really matter? Like the Continental title really only existed, I think, to fill that Triple Crown that only lasted
But do
when
you
Eddie
keep
Kingston
calling it
held
the C2 then?
I think it like the name doesn't have to be tied to the belt. I think it's fine to keep it like that.
Yeah, I don't care. I just want the tournament to stay.
Yeah,
for the
like
most
so I
part.
think the tournament can work. And honestly, I think it'd be more prestigious if it's for a world title shot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think it'd actually be better if we get rid of that title. And then once Omega's the unified champion, just being the international belt, I say we give Fletcher that belt if we're not going to put him in the
Yeah, I'm
main
fine with
event. Because I think that belt should be our Intercontinental belt. It's like priming people for a run. Like Takeshita showed he could have a title.
Mhm.
We're going to move him up. Cassidy may not be a world champion, but he showed he can carry a belt.
Sure did.
Right? And then it's also like a belt that's worthy of people like MGF
Mhm.
or Omega, who they've been world champion for a crap load already, but it's like this belt's not entirely beneath them. Even though I think Omega doesn't need it,
Yeah.
it's still not like a waste of his time kind
No,
of thing.
it's good for the title too
Yeah.
to have guys like that with it.
So for a cage match, they gave it a 9.48.
So I'm under. I went 4.5 for this one too. I feel like you're 4 and 3/4.
I'm going 4 3/4.
Yeah,
It
and
was
that's fine.
fantastic.
I can't argue that.
It was fantastic. I think
was.
that's probably what I gave the last one, because I know the only time I think I've said 5 stars on here was Osprey Omega.
I think I've seen
I
that
think
one.
you agree. I think we both did, because I
Yeah.
think that was like, that's the best match.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
like
we were
this
there,
was,
so that helps.
that's that too. I mean, I could make a case for the Gargano Cole match, because I think that match is just.
Yeah, you love that.
I mean, that's the best NXT match ever. Shut up, Andrade.
So we go from 3 absolutely amazing matches in a row to
That Canadian guy.
one of the worst interviews at ringside ever.
Oh,
this is the moment. So all I have is some people shill for Queen of the Ring. So it's the director,
it's the director,
and 2 actors.
this one black actress, and then the white one. That sounds horrible. I'm sorry.
Fastest differentiation, I guess.
She's we've seen her in the Goldbergs, because
Right.
she played the friend of the older
OG
sister,
Ren.
OG Ren, and she was also in this crappy Disney Channel movie that I saw some guy crap on.
So the one not from Gold. So the director says stuff.
The one from Goldbergs
Stuff
was
and
just
things.
saying like.
And he was saying it's been reviewed very well, blah, blah, blah. So go
She
watch
said
it. Go
generic
watch
stuff like just like nice stuff about wrestling, and she was saying go see it. Like she was just like, talking about like honoring the women, and like that her stuff was fine.
Yes.
Like
And then the
Goldbergs
other
one
woman
was fine.
says,
What was her name? Because I just saw it. I'll hold on. It's Damaris Lewis.
and I don't know the exact quote, but it was
Hold on, I got it. I
Okay,
think
there
I
you
got
go.
it here.
This is good stuff if you haven't seen this.
One thing I learned about pro wrestlers: y'all know you're gonna win before anybody else does. So thank you for teaching me that.
So she could say anything to promote her movie
Or
promote AEW,
wrestling.
or anything, and she reveals to
She
go.
chose to do neither.
But also, isn't it a bit of a cell phone that she just learned wrestling's not real?
So she's an idiot. Yeah, right. There's layers to this. So first off, you're like,
Exposing the business, brother.
but
As
you're
they
not,
say.
because we all know that.
We already know.
But then you're exposing yourself for not knowing that.
Right. Like, you just learned that wrestling isn't real.
And also, isn't it kind of like, even if we all know that, it's kind of a diss to say that, because it's like, oh, hey, your thing's fake. But then could I not go on the set of your movie and say, oh, I learned you know what you're gonna say and do before before anybody else
that
does.
you know the words before the audience does.
You know the dialogue before I do. Thanks for teaching me. Like, it was just so, like, I don't understand.
It was
so weird.
unbelievable.
Like,
and it was awkward for who was interviewing.
Shivani.
It was awkward for him too, because he knows that's not what they want. Like, not that they're even caring and trying to convince us all that it's still real, but like,
Obviously, like, but
of all the things she could say,
it's just bad, and they're not trying to like, sell it. It's real. Obviously, they are, but they're selling it. It's real in the sense that movie would do that.
but it's also like, we know you know it's not real, but we're not trying to get in your way of your suspension of disbelief for the next hour.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We don't need somebody grabbing you and shaking you and going, by the way, don't forget it's all fake. Like, we know, and
It's just so weird.
We're trying to get lost in it and not think about that.
It was so
but
bad.
It was
Oh my
it was
God.
very memorable. Actually, that needs to go on the best of, worst of list too.
Okay, I will
somewhere.
do that.
As moment or segment or
Yo,
that's
should
a
I say
front
worst
runner.
celebrity?
Worst
celebrity
segment?
appearance.
Possibly. I don't know.
I don't know if it was like a whole.
While you're doing that, I'll talk about the main event. It's Copeland.
Oh wait, sorry. For certainty score,
Oh yeah.
you got 1 for
yes.
that.
And you got 0. You got a hot 0. So I'm up what? A bunch now.
You're up. Oh wait, did I add it?
I don't think.
did.
Last you said I was up 5 and I've won 2 more.
Okay, so now you're at 41.
Yeah, and you're at what? 35.
So I'm down 6, but I think I'll be fine.
So Copeland and Mox AEW Championship, their gear is a colorblind nightmare for me.
So Copeland comes out. I ask you what you think it was, and what did you say?
I said
Purple and
purple
gold,
and
right?
gold.
And it was navy blue and neon green.
So not great. And then Moxley, the other end of my spectrum with green is when it gets dark like that, and I can't tell.
His
what's
was
green
like
or
an
brown.
army green kind of thing.
But you could have told me it was all green or it was green and brown in either combination, and I would have believed you. So I'm already pissed off at them for this. Anyways.
Oh, don't you miss them wearing white again?
We got a lengthy, they were like, yeah, you're complaining about people wearing white here. Lengthy strike exchange to start. The crowd is noticeably quiet compared to previous matches on this show.
Yeah.
But these guys are following 3 absolute barn burners, to be fair.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
Basement dropkick sends Moxley to the floor. I put Edge old man leaps onto him from the top. You know when they don't do anything, he just kind of
Like
falls
Sting, like
off
Sting always did,
yes,
right?
exactly.
In his AEW run, I mean.
Mox gets control, takes a minute to yell at JR on commentary. Then it's some plotting Mox offense as he controls Copeland with just basic stuff, and including, remember, the super weak knee to the back of Copeland? Like, he barely made contact.
Oh, my God.
Crowd seems to kind of be turning on the match. They're going from, like, it almost felt like silent to vocally kind of unimpressed with it. Copeland, quick roll-up of Mox responds with a cutter. The ops are shown up watching from a box. I think they showed us earlier. Maybe it was in the 0 hour. But anyways, they're up there. Sudden impaler from Copeland, then a clothesline. Both men are down. Copeland crossface, but Mox gets to the ropes. I'm a jerk. I put, at least notes are really easy to take for this match. Because the last few, it's been impossible. Moxley gets speared off the apron to the floor. Commentary sound kind of silly, trying to convince us how the... yeah, they're like, wow, these guys are taking more risk than usual, and it's just like, you saw what we just saw, right?
You know what happened with the cage, right?
You're like drawing my attention to a direct comparison, and you should probably not, right? Copeland sent into the ring steps, and Mox yells about breaking Cope's neck and sending him home in a wheelchair. He pulls up a section of the padding on the floor. We get a Mox piledriver attempt countered into a backdrop on the exposed floor. The most predictable thing ever right there. Mox with a knee and then stomps Copeland onto the...
Curb stomp on the floor looked pretty solid.
Yeah, that looked pretty good. Crossface strikes in the ring and then a bulldog choke from Mox. He hits a pile driver, goes back to the choke. Copeland eventually gets to the ropes. Moxley shoves the ref, goes to get a chair. The ref takes it, kind of misses a visual pin roll-up by Copeland at that point. The kick-out sends the ref to the floor. Mox hits the worst-looking Death Rider ever.
It was the paradigm shift because he didn't lift him, but because like Copeland didn't go down. I don't even think it was Moxley's fault.
It was
definitely Copeland's fault.
And the commentary have to talk about it like it connected. There's no ref to count the pin for that one either. So Moxley sets up for a concerto, but it's stopped with an up kick from Copeland that sends the chair into Mox's face. Double clothesline, both men are down. This is when Yuta comes down, and I didn't believe this for a second. So he gets in the ring and stares at Moxley, but then he hits the Psycho knee to Copeland instead, which I wasn't convinced for a minute. Moxley has the case with the belt, but Jay White shows up, takes out Yuta, then accidentally hits Copeland with a pretty good-looking briefcase shot, actually. Right?
Yeah, he smacked
Moxley
him.
moves, he hits Copeland. Yuta and White brawl up the ramps, and then this is where I say, like, so Jay White is on Yuta's level now because they brawl each other away from the ring. The ref who's recovering from being taken out's count is super, super slow, and that allows Copeland to kick out from the case shot. Mox intimidates the ref and gets speared for a 2 count. Second spear, then a third, and then as Edge goes to make the pin, I think a hooded figure pulls the ref out of the ring. The crowd reacts really well. This is where they sort of get involved. It's Christian. He's got his contract with the title shot in it. He absolutely crushes Edge with the clipboard. Sorry, I'm going between Edge and Copeland, I think, and not calling him what he actually prefers, but too bad. So it's officially a 3-way match now, and Tony immediately is like, there's no DQs in a 3-way match. I'll talk about it, I guess, because the finish didn't take long to get to. It's about 2 minutes from the time he cashes in, and then we get a kill switch to Copeland, but a bully choke to Christian, and Christian's out, and the match is over after 26 minutes. And isn't Christian an idiot?
Yeah.
Right? Because why wouldn't he wait until the match is over? They've taken 10 minutes more punishment.
Either that...
Commentary tried to cover it by saying, like, it was his personal whatever with Copeland that made him to... I don't know.
Here's the thing.
He's too smart for that.
I don't hate the mid-match cash-in because that can be done well. Like
mid-match? It was the last 2 minutes of the match.
But, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because Rollins did that, and it was perfect because, like, Roman and Redacted are beating the tar out of each other, and so it makes sense. Like,
But I would, as a smart person, I would wait until there's no more possible beating to happen.
But here's the thing,
and he's
with
ultimate
that is,
weak.
like, at the end of the match, then someone's up, and so it's like, you could pick a moment where they're both down, which, so I was saying, like, my thing is, if he had cashed in, for example, if he could have, during Fletcher Ospreay, like, after the Spanish Fly, for example, that's a good example of cashing in during a match.
Yes.
I just think in this one, they didn't take enough, and so then it makes him look stupid. I personally don't care, because now it takes the title shot out of the mix, and we don't have to worry about that.
But is Edge going to be done with this because he wasn't involved in the pinfall now?
I said that to you. I hope not, but
I hope maybe.
I hope it pivots into him and Christian
again. I also don't need that.
but that takes them away from the title.
It's true. That does.
And then they could have a cool like TLC match or something.
Yes. So this match I didn't really want to see anyways, and after everything we just watched, the pace and the drama of this just suffered by direct comparison.
Yeah.
Crowd,
it just wasn't there.
Crowd was on fire for 3 matches before this, as were we. And I think like management needs to recognize that this Death Riders in the main event spot is a mistake. And any momentum this show had, right, was kind of killed.
Yeah.
By basic action. Then we get a couple weak-looking moves from Moxley.
And a story I didn't care about.
Regardless of whose fault it was. Extended referee bump. Multiple people run in. Cash-in takes place that I thought made Christian look like an idiot and lasted all of about 2 minutes. I don't know. This was long, mostly slow. And
it's like a Roman match where it's not like bad, but it's just not like I don't really care.
Telling a story we're not interested in, right?
Yeah.
So main event on a major show that was otherwise terrific. So I'm going to be harsh on this one, I think.
Cage match was 3.2.
I was not that harsh because that's like crazy.
Yeah.
I went 2.5. Like I thought it was below average considering it's a main event on a major show.
Yeah, I agree.
It's below average.
I agree. 2.5. And then so you
lot
got
of moving parts.
3 off that. I got 8 off that.
Oh wow! So
you still win by 1. So I actually closed the gap.
The system is broken because I picked 2 matches right.
Yeah, but see, I only bet 1 point on Omega Takeshita and 3 on Fletcher. So I only lost out on the 4.
I won. The rest is details, I guess.
Yeah.
So then we get Prince Nana is on the ramp.
Yeah, because Mox is leaving through the crowd.
Wagging his finger at Moxley. And then security kind of have to step in to stop Mox from attacking Nana. And then Swerve is perched above on a railing and double stomps Mox
in the crowd.
And some security. And then his music plays to end the show to sort of remind us.
Without the drums.
That's where we're going next, without the drums. So yeah, I guess maybe not Copeland more, right? Because we've already got our next thing happening here. So yeah, that match was disappointing, but the overall great pay-per-view. I rated 5 matches over 4 stars, and I don't give out like 4 stars to me is like that's a much above average. Like that's a very good approaching excellent match.
Yeah.
5 of them. The tag match could have been on TV probably. Okada King felt a bit like filler, but it was entertaining, right? Opener very good. Then I would suggest 4 matches were great. Ricochet, Swerve, Storm May, Omega Takeshita, Ospreay, Fletcher.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So math, because I usually will do the math and average it out.
Steiner math.
The math says it's a B+, but I enjoyed the middle portion of this so much.
I feel like it has to be A range.
I have to. So it's getting a bump just off of feels or vibe or whatever you young people want to say. I moved it up to an A-. I thought it was terrific. And 3 matches going on my best of. We've got a memorable worst of moment that didn't take a lot of time. I think the laughs we got out of her saying wrestling's fake is worth her saying it, to be honest.
That's true.
Very entertaining.
Yeah, so like the opener was really strong. The TUSL match was a good nap.
You recharged your battery on that one.
Yeah, it helped. Swerve Ricochet was really good. Continental title was filler, but not filler I don't like. Same for the tag match, but like useful filler I would describe those two as. And then we really kicked into high gear, not full gear because wrong show.
Right.
But like Hollywood ending was fantastic. International title match was fantastic. The cage match was absolutely insane. I absolutely loved that. I loved all 3, but I think cage match was by far my favorite of the 3.
Mm-hmm.
All match of the year contenders. We got a women's match, which we always struggle with, and then 2 like the Omega, the Takeshita and Fletcher matches. Awesome. I always knew they were gonna be in there. Like if they weren't match of the year contenders, I'd be disappointed, but I expect nothing less because they were fantastic.
High expectations, and they delivered on.
That's another thing I love about, especially Fletcher and Ospreay. I find is. Their matches, I've never been disappointed with their matches.
Kind of AEW pay-per-views in general.
That's true. Their pay-per-views are just really good.
Has there been any that I felt like it didn't get money worth, right?
It was the first World's End.
I pay for them all and I don't ever feel
right.
bad about it.
But yeah, the match quality was really good. The main event
was a blemish, but I can overlook it because of the like hour and a half before
it's probably the only match I outright didn't really love, and that's good if it's just the one, even
Yep.
though it is the biggest one.
Yep.
I agree. It's an A- though. And I was saying to you, like, we've been eating good with the PLE pay-per-views this year because
Main
Rumble was
roster.
fantastic.
Good.
Chamber was really good. And this was also fantastic. NXT, I don't know because I don't really care. But
Good time to be a wrestling fan.
yeah, that's one of the things that they were talking about in the Van Vliet interview with Ospreay is like, it's a crazy time for wrestling right now.
It is. It's a really good time to do what we do. And I think we're done doing it for today, but we will be back. We're going to tackle the worst of is coming this week at some point. Look out for that. As you know, if you're a regular listener, viewer, we put out a flagship show every Saturday. It'll be 243 coming out this next Saturday. If you just caught this randomly because you were looking at reviews, follow us, subscribe, whatever you need to do, leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll be back here in the not too distant future to put out some more content for you. And until then, everybody, take care.